I was sitting in front of my terminal yesterday, just staring at that blinking cursor, and I had this realization. We are in this really weird, kind of uncanny valley with AI coding right now.
The Valley of Death, as some people might call it.
Something like that.
Mhm.
It's like, on one hand, I've got these chat interfaces, the ones that felt absolutely magical the first time. I asked for a Python script, boom, it's there, 5 seconds. But the second I try to pull that into a real repository, I'm talking, a production code base with legacy debt, weird dependencies, 5 different config files, the magic it evaporates.
It hits a wall, a very hard wall.
It slams into a wall. I spend more time copy-pasting context, explaining the file structure to the bot, and fixing hallucinations than I would have if I just wrote it myself. It goes from magic to manual labor really, really fast.
And that is the defining problem, I think, of this entire cycle of AI development. We've totally mastered the 0 to 1 script generation, but 1 to 100, so maintaining and scaling actual software, that is where the current crop of chatbots just falls flat. They don't have the state, they don't have the full context of your architecture.
And that is exactly why we are doing this deep dive today. We're looking at a stack of materials from a company called HumanLayer and their platform, CodeLayer. And they are making a pretty aggressive claim. They aren't building another Copilot. They aren't building another autocomplete extension. They claim they're building an IDE designed to orchestrate autonomous coding agents.
Yeah, it's a pivot from assistance to agency, and we've got a lot to get through. We've got their launch manifesto, some technical talks from the AI Engineer Code Summit in NYC from late 2025, a few really interesting Y Combinator presentations from August 2025, and some docs on a concept they call context engineering.
Context engineering. Okay, I want to put a pin in that because it sounds a little like buzzword bingo to me, but I have a feeling there's some actual meat on the bone there.
Oh, there is. The core thesis we're exploring today is it's pretty simple, but it's radical. The era of vibes-based coding, where you prompt a bot and just hope for the best, is over. We are moving toward battle-tested workflows.
Which sounds great, but I'm going to be the skeptic today.
Mm.
I love my editor. I have my key bindings set up exactly how I like them. And CodeLayer's tagline is, close your editor forever. That's bold. Maybe a little insulting.
It is definitely provocative, but by the end of this, you might see why they say it. This isn't about replacing your text editor with a worse one. It's about replacing the act of typing with the act of orchestrating.
Okay, I'm listening. So let's break down what CodeLayer actually is. The first thing that jumps out in the docs is this comparison. They call themselves Superhuman for Claude Code. Phew. Now, for anyone who's been living under a rock, Superhuman is that email client that costs a fortune, but people swear by it because it's just so fast.
Right. But think about why Superhuman worked. It wasn't just email. It was about flow. It was keyboard first, zero latency, get in and get out. CodeLayer is applying that exact UX philosophy to the heavy lifting of AI coding.
So it's an interface built on top of Claude Code.
Exactly. Think of Claude Code, the model itself, as the engine. It's a V12 engine, incredibly powerful, but right now, most of us are driving that V12 engine with a tricycle. We're using a chat window. CodeLayer is trying to build the cockpit of a fighter jet around that engine.
Okay, but what does that mean practically? If I'm a developer, am I still chatting with it?
You are, but the interaction model is different. It's designed for builders who need speed. The source material emphasizes keyboard-first workflows. The whole idea is that you shouldn't be clicking around, dragging files, waiting for UI animations. You issue a command, the system executes. It's minimizing the friction between your thought and the model's action.
And the sources mention this is critical for avoiding what they call a chaotic slop fest.
That is a quote for the ages. Chaotic slopfest.
It's vivid, but I think I know what they mean. If you have an entire engineering team where everyone is just pasting random snippets into ChatGPT and everyone has their own little prompting style, you end up with a code base that's a Frankenstein's monster.
Precisely. The slopfest happens when there's no rigor. If you treat AI like a toy, you get toy code. CodeLayer is trying to wrap the raw power of these models in real engineering constraints. They want to enable you to tackle the hard problems, refactoring a payment gateway, updating an API schema across 20 files without the model getting confused and, deleting your database config.
So it's less about, help me write this one function, and more about, here is a complex task, go execute it safely.
Yes, and to do that safely, you need more than just a good prompt. You need what they call context engineering.
All right, let's pull that pin out. Context engineering. The HumanLayer team claims they coined this term back in April 2025. Is this prompt engineering with a tie on?
No, and the distinction is actually crucial for you to grasp. Prompt engineering is linguistics. It's you, the human, trying to find the magic words to get the bot to understand. Act as a senior engineer, take a deep breath, think step by step. It's voodoo.
Right, yeah, treating the AI like some temperamental genius you have to coax into working.
Exactly. Context engineering is architecture. It's programmatic. It's about controlling the data flow that reaches the model before it even tries to generate an answer. It's not about what you say to the bot. It's about what the bot knows about your project.
Okay, can you give me and explain the confine on that?
Sure. Imagine you ask a contractor to renovate your kitchen. Prompt engineering is like writing a really nice, polite letter asking them to do a good job, describing the vibe you want. Context engineering is giving them the blueprints, the exact measurements of the cabinets, the electrical schematics, the plumbing layout, and then locking the doors to the other rooms so they don't accidentally demo your bedroom.
Okay, that clicks. So instead of just relying on the AI to figure it out, CodeLayer is programmatically curating the environment for it.
Correct. And this ties directly into one of their core talks. No vibes allowed.
I love that title. No vibes allowed, solving hard problems in complex code bases.
It's a reaction to the unpredictability of LLMs. In software, vibes are bad. Vibes mean non-deterministic behavior. Vibes mean, I hope this works. You can't run a bank or a hospital on vibes. You need reliability.
So how do they get reliability out of a probabilistic model? I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an LLM. It's still just guessing the next token.
They introduced this concept of 12-factor agents.
Okay, that rings a bell. The 12-factor app is like, it's the Bible for cloud computing.
It is. The 12-factor app methodology taught us all how to build stateless, scalable web apps. It completely changed the industry. And HumanLayer is arguing we need that same rigor for agents.
So what does a 12-factor agent actually look like?
The documentation alludes to principles like explicit dependency management, treating backing services as attached resources, and disposability. Basically, don't treat the agent like a magic 8-ball or some continuous chat stream that remembers everything forever. You treat it like a microservice. It needs to have a defined scope, it needs to be stateless where possible, and it needs to be monitored.
It sounds like they're trying to professionalize the whole AI wrapper space.
They are industrializing it. They're saying if you want to use this for enterprise work, you can't just be chatting, you need a workflow. And that workflow leads us to the feature that I think is the real game changer here.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. I saw this in the notes and I had to read it twice. MULTICLAEDE.
Multi-Claude.
It sounds like a villain from a Marvel movie.
I
I am multi-Claude. But seriously, this is where the whole closing your editor thing starts to actually make sense to me. Explain what's happening here.
So the current paradigm, the one we all hate, is linear. One dev, one cursor, one chat window. You ask a question, you wait for the stream. You watch the text appear character by character. You are locked in.
And if it's a long refactor, you're just sitting there spinning your pen. You can't touch anything else, or you might break the context.
Right. CodeLayer breaks that linearity. They allow you to spin up multiple Claude Code sessions in parallel.
Parallel agents. So I can have one agent fixing a bug in the back end and another agent writing tests for the front end at the same time.
Simultaneously. And not just on your screen. They use remote cloud workers to offload the compute. So your laptop fan isn't taking off like a helicopter. You are essentially outsourcing the coding to a squad of virtual junior developers that you manage from a command center.
Okay, but wait. Anyone who's worked on a team knows that if 3 people touch the same code at the same time, you get merge conflicts from hell. You get chaos. How does multi-Claude not just destroy your Git history?
And this is the context engineering kicking in again. They utilize a Git feature called work trees.
Work trees. I have not heard anyone mention work trees in years.
It's a deep cut Git feature. Most people just switch branches, right? Which changes the files in your current directory. A Git work tree lets you check out multiple branches in different directories simultaneously, all linked to the same repository.
So CodeLayer is automating that whole process.
Yes. When you spin up a new agent, CodeLayer essentially gives it its own sandbox, its own work tree to make changes. It validates those changes, runs tests in that isolated environment, and only presents it back to you when it's ready to merge.
That is actually incredibly smart. So the No Vibes slogan isn't just marketing. They are literally digging into the plumbing of Git to make this work reliably.
That's the IDE part of their pitch. A chatbot can't manage Git work trees. A chatbot doesn't know about your file system locks. An IDE does. By controlling the entire environment, they allow you to be a manager rather than a typist.
It reframes the job description. I'm not writing code. I'm reviewing pull requests from my AI employees.
Which is exactly what a staff engineer or a tech lead does. You leverage your judgment, not your typing speed.
This all sounds great in theory. It's technically robust, philosophically sound, but I'm always suspicious until I hear from people who are actually trying to ship product with it. And CodeLayer has been going through the Y Combinator gauntlet.
And YC founders are the harshest critics on earth. They don't have time for tools that are cool but useless. They need to ship or they die.
So we have some testimonials here. Let's look at Rene Brandel, founder of Casco, YC Winter 25. He says, quote, "Our entire company is using CodeLayer now. We're shipping one banger PR after the other. It is so fan good. Unbelievable, dude."
One banger PR after the other.
It's not exactly a McKinsey metric, but I feel it. You know that feeling.
It speaks to that flow state. A banger PR implies it's not just working code, it's significant. It's a feature, a major fix. It's value. And if you're shipping multiple of those a day, your velocity is just off the charts. It means the trust factor is there.
Then we have Tyler Brown, founder of Revlo.ai. He gave a number that actually stopped me in my tracks. He said CodeLayer improved productivity standard stuff, but also reduced token consumption by at least 50%.
That is a very counterintuitive stat, isn't it?
That makes no sense. We
Yeah.
just talked about multi-cloud. We're talking about running parallel agents. Logic dictates that more agents equals more tokens, more cost. So how are they cutting it in half?
This goes right back to the difference between prompt engineering and context engineering.
Connect the dots for me.
If you are a lazy developer using a standard chat window, what do? You drag in the whole file, maybe the whole folder. You dump massive amounts of irrelevant context into the prompt because, you don't know what the AI needs. You're spraying and praying.
Guilty. I think we all are.
We all are. But CodeLayer isn't lazy because it understands the code structure, the AST, the dependency graph. It filters the signal from the noise before sending it to Claude. It only sends the exact snippets and interfaces needed to solve the problem.
So it's leaner.
Much leaner. And that's not just about saving money on API bills, it's about performance. The less junk you feed the model, the less likely it is to hallucinate. Noise confuses LLMs. By cutting token usage by 50%, they are actually increasing accuracy.
That's a really crucial insight. Better context isn't just more data, it's cleaner data.
Exactly. Tyler also mentioned the psychological impact. He talked about looking back at the volume of work done in a day using this superhuman style approach and feeling a different kind of satisfaction.
It's the difference between feeling busy and feeling productive.
It shifts the satisfaction from, I wrote a really clever loop, to, I architected a solution that fixed 10 bugs in an hour. It's a higher level of abstraction.
So we've got the tech, we've got the startup validation, but HumanLayer isn't just targeting YC kids in hoodies. They are gunning for the enterprise.
Which is a whole different beast.
The source material has this line, "For the enterprise, invest in outcomes, not tools." It sounds a bit salesy, but their implementation strategy is interesting. They say they ship in the trenches with client teams.
That stood out to me too. It sounds like they aren't just selling a license key, they are selling a cultural transformation. They embed their expert engineers with the client until everyone on the team is operating as a 100x engineer.
It's almost a consultancy hybrid model.
It has to be. Think about it. We just discussed multi-cloud work trees, context engineering, 12-factor agents. This is a sophisticated way of working. You don't just hand that to a junior dev and say, good luck. You have to teach them how to orchestrate.
It's like upgrading a pilot from a Cessna to that fighter jet we talked about.
Yeah.
You need flight hours with an instructor.
Precisely. And if you look at who HumanLayer is hiring, it just reinforces this. They aren't looking for standard full-stack devs. They are looking for people who identify as 99.9th percentile Claude Code users.
That is a very specific and slightly intimidating demographic.
It's the power users. They are building a tool by experts for experts. They aren't trying to democratize coding for your grandmother. They are trying to give superpowers to people who already understand the fundamentals of cloud architecture and clean code.
They're also trying to own the narrative. They have a podcast, AI That Works, with hosts at Hellevi and at Dexorthy. It really seems like they are trying to position themselves as the adults in the room.
It's smart. While everyone else is releasing flashy demos of AI making a video game in 30 seconds, HumanLayer is talking about Git work trees and 12-factor architectures. They are signaling that they are ready for production, not just for prototyping.
So let's zoom out. We started this deep dive talking about the frustration of that context window wall. CodeLayer's answer to that is, don't just make the window bigger, make the workflow smarter.
And don't do it alone. Use the parallelism. That is the big takeaway for me. The future of coding isn't faster typing. It's multi-processing.
It really, really challenges the definition of what a software engineer is. For 50 years, our job has been think, type, debug, repeat.
And now, it's not. Architect, orchestrate, review.
Which brings us to the question we want to leave you with today. We've seen the metrics: 50% fewer tokens, banger PRs, parallel agents. If tools like CodeLayer actually deliver on this promise, if you can sit down at your desk and spin up 5 different Claudes to do the grunt work while you sip your coffee.
The nature of your contribution completely changes.
Exactly. So does your role shift from being a writer of code to being an architect of context? And the scary part, are you ready to manage a team of AI agents, or are you still just trying to manage your own syntax errors?
The editor might be closing, but the real work, the system design, the logic, the architecture, that is just opening up.
A terrifying and exciting thought to end on. That's all for this deep dive into CodeLayer. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Keep building.